with Kari, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But we have Masq on. They're creating something wild. If you guys have ever used a VPN, you don't need to worry about that all too much more. But Masq is creating some technology with an amazing model, and they're in their beta testing phase, so they are actually proving that they can do what they're saying they're going to do. Welcome, Kari.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Really like what you guys are doing at Cardinal House, and I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, of course, of course. So we would like to start things off a little bit differently here. We're going to actually take a look at this. We've got some polls, and I'll read them out to you, but I think everybody should be able to see them. So we like to do things a little differently, like I say. Like to get to know you as just a person with a couple questions, break the ice a little bit before we dive into Masq and everything you guys got going. But first off, are you more of a morning bird or night owl? We kind of touched up a little bit on this.
Yeah, I'd say I'm a night owl for sure. I'm often up till like midnight or later every night. So that's me. I'm not, I can deal with the mornings, but I'd prefer to sleep in if I could.
Gotcha. I feel that. I feel that for sure. Are you more into
Yeah.
miners or validator nodes? If you had to pick one.
Ooh. I'd probably go with mining if I had to choose.
Okay. Very interesting. Um, so you might be aware, but there is something similar to VPN that is decentralized, but the deeper network. Um, I'm not sure if you've done any research on that, but would you prefer something like that or a VPN? DPN or VPN?
Um, I've seen and heard of so many different ones in the space.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure Deeper is that the one that they use hardware to
Yes.
yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of the hardware network style. I mean it's got its use cases. I think I'd probably lean more towards a VPN, but that's probably also because I haven't used too many
Hmm.
of the hardware ones. I'm just always like maybe my privacy and decentralization switch clicks in my mind, and I'm like, oh, how do you know there isn't anything in that hardware that isn't, is communicating somewhere else that doesn't, you don't know about it.
Hmm.
They're both good in different ways. I'm not knocking either one, but yeah, I'd probably lean towards VPN because I'm more familiar with that tech.
Okay. Fair enough. VPN or Mask?
Oh, that's an easy one, man. Mask.
If you had said
I use it all
VPN,
the
I probably
time.
would have ended the AMA.
Yeah, you're like, why is this guy here?
um, what has been the biggest lesson that you've learned so far with starting a Web3 business?
Ooh, biggest thing we've learned. I'd probably say that community is the most important thing, like, building a good core. Nowadays you can do a lot with business, getting investors, selling an idea, getting even, I don't know how many people have been around since, the last few cycles, maybe back into 2016, 17, ideas can be used to raise a lot of money, but you can have all the money in the world and no community, and you really don't get very far. So we've done the flip. We'll probably talk about it today. We started with building a core community, and that was the focus along with the tech. And yeah, with that, you can really have a great journey and sustainable growth.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Well, that's all the questions I have to start off. But why don't we take it into a quick introduction of who you are? Now that we know a little bit about you and how you don't sleep ever because you're a night owl, but you have to wake up early for AMAs. Um, why don't we get a quick introduction to who you are, what your experience is, and where you come from before crypto?
Yeah, sure. I feel like I've done quite a bit in a relatively, you know, not short career, but like I wouldn't say I'm like old and ancient, and I'm like, yeah, I've been around for ages. Look at this long beard I have, and it's I've sort of done lots of different things, but always sort of involved around teams, building teams, working with people. But my background is more technical too. Like before I got into crypto, I went to university and got a degree in engineering, industrial engineering, and worked in that industry for a little bit. Worked in the finance area, financial services for a while, building, working with teams, 5, 10, 20 people over the years, and then stumbled across crypto in the just before Ethereum was founded, and started like just dabbling in the technology, read the Bitcoin white paper. If any of you are interested in the technology as a the core roots of it, you have to read the Bitcoin white paper. Like I honestly think anyone who really wants to be part of any form of crypto has to read that and just educate themselves on the origins of what we're all enjoying now. And then once that happened, it changed my life in a way, and I wouldn't say I'm like 100% crypto. Like I do, I still have involvement with other clients and stuff in my, I guess you could say, the fiat slavery part of life, where you still are tied to the fiat system, not quite disconnected and red pilled yet. I'd love to be. But yeah, I'm still connected loosely with that. So
You took
yeah,
both pills. Got it.
yeah, but the Web3 space is what I'm most excited in. That's obviously what Masq is firmly rooted in, with our technology, with what we're building in the future, and the vision that we hold really true. So yeah, I've been around for 7, 8 years in the crypto space. If you ask me if I've done certain things in the crypto space, I'd probably have done it all. So I've deployed NFTs, smart contracts. I've gotten scammed. I've gotten rugged. I've lost money. I've made money. Everything. So, and build lots of stuff. Met lots of people. Learned a lot about tech. I think to be successful too, you got to have an open mind, being able to learn new things and try and adapt as you go. So, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. I love it. Super, super important. And so what do you do in the Web 2 space that you're now, still doing on the side a little bit of taking that blue pill a little bit? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And I'm a member of several companies still.
hmm
Some advisory level stuff. I'm a board member of another one. Traditional style companies, and it's not very tech heavy. It's sort of like people based, because a lot of my experience was with business. So it's sort of a various different aspects of it, and yeah, I like it. I really do enjoy working with people. So for me, it's a good contrast to working in Web3 where you're often remote. You're doing things online in different time zones. You don't sit face to face with people.
Yeah.
So with that, I still get that balance as well. Although with COVID, that changed everything. Most people had to go virtual and do business online.
hmm Yeah, that's awesome though. That's awesome. So you're getting a little bit of both. You're fixing, you know,
Mhm.
getting your fix in of interacting with people and then also of just the crypto space in general. So definitely a good balance
Yeah,
between the two. I agree. It's tough to be completely separated from people like all day, every single day. It's a little bit tougher to do that, but that is cool.
yeah. And I think you guys are probably, maybe looking at things similarly with just growing your community and
hmm
like still, doing multiple. You kind of juggle lots of hats when you're in a startup phase or
hmm
early first few years of business. Um, it's just part of it, but you got to make it work.
Yeah, definitely with you there. So kind of moving forward into what Masq is doing. You guys have been doing this for a long time. And guys, we will have a Kahoot at the very end, so start taking notes now. But you guys have been doing this for a long time. Do you want to touch up on how long that's been and what you guys have been developing during all this the past years?
Yeah, it's funny how we speak of things in a long time in crypto when like 3 years is actually not that long, but we've been around 3 years. In crypto, it's like a decade, right? If you haven't been like I don't know, hacked or you haven't just disappeared with no product, I guess, it's a
You
long
haven't
time.
existed
So
yet.
yeah, it's not that long. Yeah. So we've done some pretty amazing stuff in the span of that time. But most importantly, considering we haven't had millions of dollars of funding. One of the things that makes us stand out, and I'm getting a lot of that feedback from all these project builders and partners that we're exploring discussions with and stuff for integrating into the browser and tech that we have, is they're just blown away when I say, look, we didn't do an ICO, we didn't do a crowd raise, we didn't do private funding or venture capital, and they're like, what? How long you been around? I'm like 3 years, and I show them the product that's working, and they try it, and they're like, dude, this is amazing. This is what every Web3 project like founder group wants to be at like right now, and they're just an idea. So we've been, the tech concepts have been a lot older than us. Like we can't take all the credit for everything. Some of that stuff was, starting to be developed before Masq founded, but we've been going strong for 3 years, and intend to continue until we fulfill our ultimate vision.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I love the fact that you prefaced everything with 3 years in traditional finance, right? 3 years in business is not a long time. The time horizon in crypto is so short, including builders in the space. Like when you meet project founders, it's super, super important to ask, hey, how long, what's your 10-year roadmap? Let's say this doesn't go as planned. What are you going to do next? And people, when you ask that question, a lot of times are like, oh yeah, we're going to be, like there isn't a good definite answer. It's not, hey, if this doesn't work, this is what we'll be doing. If this doesn't pan out, there's no A and B, through Z strategy to building a business, which needs to be there if you want any hope of success. Because I don't think a lot of people planned for there to be this massive bear market, at this time, but it hit, and guess what? People have died, and people will continue to. Projects will continue to go down the drain because they don't have builders in the space that are ready to take those hits and keep moving forward. So I think that's super, super awesome that you guys have been here. You guys have shown you guys are here for the long run. You're not going anywhere. You're going to keep building. Very, very awesome.
Yeah. And we started it, I mean, back when we started, and we were, before we officially founded, of course, we were working together in a team, sort of like garage project type of style, like just playing with ideas, saying, should we do this? Should we actually form a team? And can we make this work? Like, what strategies should we be looking into, laying out in front of us and stuff like that? And that was in a bear market at that time. I think Bitcoin was hovering around 7,000, 8,000. It had bottomed out, and I was buying Bitcoin at the time too. I'm like, this isn't going anywhere. Like, this is prime time. I never caught the 3,000 levels, that would be amazing. But I'm also not a millionaire. I wasn't playing with big money. It was just sort of like side change.
Yeah.
But just, you gotta do the high conviction plays, because if you believe in the fundamentals, it doesn't really matter what all the naysayers say. You got to block out the noise. You see all that crap on Twitter all the time, like how many influencers have now been revealed that they were just rubbish, pumping and dumping, right? It's just a cycle. But if you know what's fundamentally true, and you believe in the tech that is there to stay, then you'll be laughing a few years later. But you got to have that patience and long-term vision.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So I love the fact that traditional business is starting to come into DeFi. At least it seems like it. And it seems like you guys are definitely a solid group of builders. So why don't we talk a little bit more about what Masq is doing, how the idea came about? It seems like you had your own problems with traditional finance and security and things like that coming into it. But why don't you touch up a little on your own personal story, like the reason behind Masq and how you personally got into it?
Yeah, well, me personally, like I followed quite a few projects back in I guess you could say the last 2 cycles ago, and there was a few projects that really resonated with me. Where it was founded around net neutrality, making sure that there's freedom of access for everyone, but it had a big focus on privacy online, and I feel like I've always been fairly conscious of that. I never really personally liked to trade off many things that infringed on my privacy, you know, like just being conscious of it, not being like ultra like secure, living in a Faraday cage and stuff like that, where you like, you know, not letting anything happen with GPS or, you know, blocking all the signal. It wasn't like
Yeah.
that extreme, but just being conscious of it, right? Like, okay, this app looks cool. Hold on, let me check. Do they track me? Do they sell my information? Do they share it with third parties?
Hmm.
Um, if anyone listening has ever had a scare where they've been like hacked or almost scammed or maybe scammed or had your identity thieved, or even more common, who, you know, I'm sure there's people listening where your email address and maybe your name and address, physical address and phone number has been leaked online
Hmm.
through third party merchants and stuff like that. Like that stuff, you know, is real important to be conscious of. And I saw different projects coming about, and so some of these concepts were there. So for me, like that vision of Masq was never like a, oh, you know, I wonder if that will be a thing. I wonder if we need that. It was like we have to do that, right?
Hmm.
Someone has to do that because now, I mean, in the last few years, it's funny. While I've been working with Masq, a lot of changes in my life have happened. I mean, I've gotten engaged, I got married, I've
Hmm.
had a baby, um, and your life priorities shift. And I was talking with another founder the other day, and we were just talking about more like society um, trends and like what the future holds for the kids and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I would hate to have a conversation with my kids where they say, "Hey, Dad, I want to, you know, I want to go to this, I want to do some research on this stuff, but this site won't load for me. It's blocked." I don't want to have to say to the kid, "Hey, you know, we didn't fight for these freedom rights when you were a baby, so sorry, that's just the way it is." You know,
Yeah.
like imagine having to have that conversation with your kid or like with family, right? Where someone says, hey, remember the days that I could post whatever I wanted online and not worry? Like I could call someone an idiot and I wouldn't be banned for hate speech or something stupid. Not condoning anything bad online, but you know, like how
Hmm.
things are getting so restrictive, and it would suck to like talk to people and say, hey, yeah, we could have done something about it, but we didn't. You know, we didn't fight. It's just
Yeah.
like I don't want to be in that boat. So I was, you know, it motivated me to do something.
Yeah, I think that's really huge. I love the kind of background that you have on that, and the internal motivation I'm sure has pushed you real far as far as trying to create a good place for, your kid or however many kids you end up having to grow up in and actually, thrive. So I think that's awesome. That intrinsic motivation is awesome.
Yeah, it ties a lot in with what crypto is. Like I'm sure everyone listening who says, you know, considers himself part of the crypto, quote unquote, crypto space, right? A lot of it is about having the freedom of choice and doing what you want to do, but also being independent, right? Not restricted in some crazy elite system where you feel like you've got no sovereignty of yourself, you know?
Hmm.
And that can't exist. That's the issue, is the overall issue in the world. That stuff can't exist unless you have a decentralized, more decentralized and democratized form of communication. You know, like if all of the internet was shut down, there's very few ways that a lot of the systems we enjoy would be able to operate. You know, including Bitcoin, including crypto. I don't know if people have thought of that. You know, like sure you can run some solar powered satellite relays and try and run Bitcoin nodes and ETH nodes and all that, but it's pretty hard, you know?
Yeah,
So yeah,
not
it's
that
fundamental to
simple.
that. Yeah.
I mean, that's really the key, right? Tech is continuously being built on a pre-existing technology. Nothing is at this point. Nothing is being built standalone. Like there is a like just like you said. Imagine if you had to now build everything back without having anything, without having any kind of electrical grid or any kind of power, or it wouldn't be that simple. Everything is kind of built with the assumption that this technology exists and I'm going to utilize it to improve on it. So yeah, I
Yeah.
really, really love what you like. Your whole mentality makes a lot of sense in it. It's awesome to hear. And kind of branching from that, like after motivation, after you're like, hey, this is something that's super important to me. I'm having a kid. Awesome. I love it. After all that, where did you guys start with the development of Masq, and where are you guys building to? What is that? If you could develop Masq into anything you wanted and it was always going to stay a certain way, right? Constantly improving, sure, but always kind of pushing towards one specific goal, what would that goal be?
Well, the ultimate goal of Mask, we've sort of put that in the forefront early on,
Hmm.
was that we want the network to be it'll at some point it'll reach critical mass where there's enough users coming and going in the network, but at any specific time, it's decentralized enough with enough users around the world that it will self heal and sustain itself. So it can't be shut down. It can't be like censored or attacked to a certain degree. It'll just continue to exist and flow and operate. And then with that, the communication will be what we call clandestine. So clandestine means that traffic will flow through the network in Masq, but look like all different types of normal traffic that exists on the internet. So if there's gamers in here, if you guys play Call of Duty, a lot of the data packets going in and out of people's computers look like Call of Duty, and it's harmless. So if someone was inspecting it, or an ISP, internet service provider, was looking at someone's data going in and out of their house IP address, and they're like, "Oh, what is this? I wonder what it is." They can't look in because it's encrypted, probably, but it looks like a Call of Duty data stream. Or if you're streaming YouTube, it just looks like a, standard UDP or TCP network traffic. And those are more technical things. But essentially, clandestine means that anyone looking at what actually is a Masq user traffic, it looks like anything else, harmless. And that's the ultimate goal, because then you can hide in plain sight. So the way we got the name of Masq is actually
Hmm.
hiding in plain sight, masquerading as something else. So that's the
Hmm.
ultimate vision.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, so I could see, I mean, definitely some crazy applications as you kind of build out to this. What is kind of needed on the back end for something like that to work? So is it masking as something specifically, or is there just a, like, are you guys saying, hey, this is what's being played, this is Call of Duty, when in reality you're, Googling up, whatever other information, right? You're looking up how to sell Bitcoin on random exchange. But is it somewhat similar to that, or is it more along the lines of, um, oh, it's just something safe, right? Like, are you
It's a
giving
bit of a, yeah.
specifics?
I mean, it's a combination of everything. Right now, those masquerader components haven't been built in, because we've still got a couple other functionality items that we're developing.
Hmm.
So it could go different ways. It could evolve as our community tests it and builds it with us and utilizes it, where maybe they want to choose what the traffic looks like. But our early concepts is that it would sort of change in some ways randomly, so it doesn't look like the same all the time, but also not being able to to change. But right now, our masked network works perfectly fine. It sort
Hmm.
of works on a level a little more superior to VPN. So what
Okay.
you'd yeah, what, like if someone was using a VPN, it just looks like normal HTTP, normal browsing traffic, and that's what Masq looks like. So it doesn't look suspicious in any way, but it just hides in normal traffic, and probably 60 to 70% of the data traffic on uh, around the world happening at one time, it hides in that. It just looks like normal, normal browsing. So you can watch a YouTube video, you could play some games, you could send an email, do anything that you'd normally do in the browser, and it runs through the Masq browser. It just looks like that, but it's encrypted
Yeah.
and private.
Gotcha. And how are you guys, or what are the tests that you guys are currently testing? Because I know you're still in this beta phase, right? Beta testing phase where you're trying to figure out, hammer out any kinks that you guys have. What is the next iteration going to include that you don't have now? Like, how is it currently being improved on with this beta phase?
Yeah, that's a nice question, because a lot of the time we're just busy with testing and stress
Hmm.
tests and stuff, and we try and reach out and say, hey guys, this is what we're working on, or this is the next part. At the moment, we've spent a lot of time this year on user experience because the tech itself, the fundamental core software is very complex, but it does work. It's got a few
Hmm.
bottlenecks and limitations in it. So scaling is really important. So we've been working a lot on that in parallel. But if the tech isn't easy to use, you're not going to have a large network, right? You can't scale it if people have trouble setting it up, if people have trouble running it. Most importantly, which is a user experience issue we're fixing now in the next week or two as well, is if people can't hop on and become servers where they're helping serve the network demand, then
Hmm.
the network won't grow very fast. It's going to be small. And so the end goal is that we want like grandma to be able to use Masq, like if your friend or sorry, if you're a grandson and you go over to grandma's house, you're like, hey grandma, I'm going to set up Masq for you. We want it to be easy, like 2 clicks and you're set up, So we're not quite at 2 clicks, but if it's easy enough for, let's say, one of our grandparents to use, then we've kind of won the new user experience battle, and that's what we want to try and move to. So a lot of the testing we're doing is just around usability, making it easy for the user to change their settings and browse, and a big thing with that, I wish we could share the screen, is we're working on this really what we feel a browser should be.
Hmm.
And it's a desktop experience where, in Masq, you're actually going to be able to set things up like you want and browse with tabs and custom spaces that really let you define your workspace.
Yeah, that is very interesting. If you have any kind of recording of it, we'd love to see it, or any kind of pictures you could send. I know people in here would definitely love to see that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really
should I
cool.
chuck it in a channel now? Should I put
Yeah,
a
yeah.
few things?
Throw it in AMA questions. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I know
That's
that you guys definitely have a lot of stuff coming, right? Especially with trying to start to mask the data as something else. Would there be a reason to actually mask it if, like, right now it's already treated as something harmless? Is there a reason to actually, switch it into this masquerade that you guys, are named after?
Yeah, there's a few levels of making it further decentralized,
Mhm.
because right now, I guess if you had a really high powered inspection system, like basically if you're trying to beat censorship in the world,
Mhm.
your benchmark, you're like boss mode, like end boss, right? In the video game, the end boss, that's the Chinese Great Firewall. So if you want to beat the end boss, your tech has to beat the Chinese firewall, and that's not easy. They've got the most sophisticated firewall ever made. It's got machine learning, AI heuristics. It's like Skynet. The minute it's
Yeah.
on, they can do deep packet inspection. They can do network behavior analytics. They can see what everything. So you have to make it hide in plain sight, even in an environment like that, for it to work. So anything that smells like a peer-to-peer type of protocol, it can make it sort of like a warning flag. So we're not quite there yet. We have to be realistic. We're not wanting to use it, especially on the other side of it too. We don't want any users where we know there is some inherent risk. We don't want users in an area where they could be punished for using something
Yeah.
as simple as a VPN. We don't want them to run out and be like, cool, I'm going to do everything on Masq and like do my banking, do everything here. And then all of a sudden the Chinese government knocks on the door and says, hey, what are you doing? Seeing some things that don't look right. We don't want that
Yeah.
to happen. So that's the
Yeah.
ultimate boss that we're trying to beat.
I love how you formulate everything like a video game. That's perfect.
I did a little gaming back in the day. Now there's no time.
Gotcha. Gotcha. No, I love it. I love it. It's awesome. Um, yeah, so kind of branching from that, is the masquerade effect really the thing that separates you from VPN? Or there is something else, right? Because I know you mentioned that right now your product is a little bit better than VPN as it sits. What is the difference currently between everything Mask is doing and VPN currently?
Well, we're superior in a lot of ways. I don't like to say we're better than everything because we're still building different aspects of it. But I mean, I would be able to say it is operating at various levels that are better than the services
Hmm.
you can get now, especially paid services like VPN subscriptions and stuff.
Yeah.
So what we've combined is not only end-to-end connections where, like a typical VPN, you pay for a monthly service and you're routing all your traffic through their set of central servers, but they're the gatekeepers. So you're basically passing your traffic to the VPN services and they're saying, oh, you want Google? Okay, we'll give you Google, and they get Google for you. They come back and they deliver it to you. So you're sort of trading one gatekeeper for another, and the trust you're giving the VPN service is that okay, if Big Brother ever knocks on your door and asks who's carry hero, you won't hand him over stuff, right?
Hmm.
Usually the answer to that is no, because they will hand over your stuff because they don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So they're the central entity, right? With Masq, there's no central entity. The peer network is the network, and all the users are the network participants. So there's no central point where everyone's harvesting or even able to log your stuff. And the most important part about that is we're not doing one hop where you just hand off your traffic to one user node and they safely an encrypted way get the traffic for you. We're actually doing 3 hops across 3 people's nodes, sometimes in 3 totally different countries. So not only is it hard to trace, it's censorship resistant, but it's also going across multiple hops to get your request and deliver it back to you. So it operates in some concept similar to Tor,
Yeah.
which is very common technology nowadays too that people use to circumvent censorship and geo restrictions. So we've combined both of those in the technology, and the future of that is we want to be able to have people also choose where they want to exit. So if they want traffic delivered from the US, they can choose that in the app. And also, if they don't want maybe super secure, they want a little bit faster speed, they can change how many hops they go. Maybe instead of 3, they can go 2. Maybe they're super concerned, they want more protection, they can go 4 hops instead of 3. So we want those options there too, which is a little harder to do, but we're planning those functions out too.
Yeah. Yeah. That is awesome. I love the fact that you guys are trying to address all these concerns. And there's only one thing that I want, one more question that I had before I bring the audience's questions into it a little bit more. With the fact that you guys are having all these hops, is there any kind of concern that you're going to slow the speed down? Because that's always, as you get into VPNs and other things, that's always kind of the issue. If you're gaming, it significantly impacts things. If you're not, it doesn't necessarily have a big impact, but it still can be annoying having to wait for things to load in. Are there any restrictions as far as the speed, or how great are the restrictions as far as speed when doing all these things?
Yeah, that's a good observation because even just on the basic network fundamentals, the more hops and the farther you have to have the data travel, the slower it can be. So we do have a little bit of speed effect that happens when you have the technology run like we do with 3 hops. And I know we fit somewhere in between a VPN speed and Tor speed. Tor is relatively Tor is a lot lower in speed or bandwidth than a VPN because of the hops, right? They do a lot more hops than us by default. But we sort of fit in between. The main thing that affects it too is where you live. So for me, if I'm testing with Masq, often I won't have as good speeds because I'm all the way on the other side of the earth. So my traffic's going from maybe from me to Australia, then to the UK, then to the US. It's gone all the way around the planet,
Yeah.
So we're building a few more things, which we call this aspect of the technology terminal intelligence, which means that we want to improve the intelligence of the routing engine within each person's software. So if it sort of knows roughly where you live, it's not going to try and send it all the way across the world. If it doesn't have to, it might send it to other peers that are closer to you. And in that sense, it's going to optimize speed and you're going to get some better performance. So yeah, we do have some performance, ups and downs with what we have. With the beta testers, they like to go hard and fast. Like if you're in a nice shiny Ferrari, are you going to stay in second gear? Probably not. You're probably going to go all the way up to 7th gear at some point and see how fast you can go. So we've had testers running 4K 8K, and really smashing the network. And they've actually had, so a lot of them have been working pretty good for periods of time, and then maybe they bottleneck it and they it slows down. But yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Um, are you guys planning on launching your own browser for either, for mobile, Android, iOS, anything like that?
Yeah, we've had a lot of demand from the community and questions about that, and we certainly want to try and achieve that. Again, we run a pretty lean team, so we want to keep our focus on the desktop app because that's
Hmm.
where the majority of users we feel will be the starting core group. The thing about mobile is that to have all the functions that you'd have on your normal computer, it's very impractical. So we're mindful that like if someone wants to run Masq and then also serve the network as a server and help routes and stuff, you're going to be doing downloading and uploading a lot. It's gonna burn through your battery really quick on a normal device.
Hmm.
So if we do launch a mobile app, it'll probably be like browsing only sort of style, just to start, because we know that if you try and do both, just phones aren't designed to be a router.
Yeah.
Um, but we do have plans to do that, and a big reason why we've deployed the app with the programming languages that we've chosen, which is for those who are techie, we're deploying the app in Electron and it's built in React JS. So the good thing about React JS is that at least for Android, you can port it. It's less difficult to port it over to a mobile version because you can sort of rewrite it in React Native, which is what most Androids will run. The Apple Store, that's another challenge in itself. Putting things on the Apple Store or iOS, they have all these gates you got to go through. So we know that's going to be a challenge. We'd like to offer that too, but we haven't done as much research on that as possible. But the Apple App Store is getting more and more strict. I don't know if you noticed recently they did a news release about how they want to gate NFT related apps and limit the options for developers to do anything NFT or crypto related in
Yep.
the App Store. So, there's more and more gatekeeping activity from Apple, and I guess that's expected now. But
And that
yeah,
kind of goes with their own competitive side, right? I think they might have
yeah,
hit some issues with monopolizing the App Store. I mean, it's weird, but companies have a tough time doing it. Like Amazon has had a tough time with listing its own products over others
hmm,
if there isn't some clear reason that it's like based on stats or metrics or something that is doing that. So I know Amazon has had some issues with like monopoly lawsuits when they've been promoting their own products that they're benefiting from over random individuals listing under the same search something different. So they
yeah,
might hit some restrictions that way, but yeah, they have that 30% Apple NFT tax, um, which is insane, insane on their marketplace. So yeah,
yeah.
just wild. Um, that is very, very interesting. So yeah, the iOS thing might be a little bit more difficult than people realize. With that though, how can people start earning from the Mask ecosystem?
Yeah, that's a lot of interest is in that because there's lots of people that do like to look into different ways to have passive crypto and different aspects of the technology we have out there. Um, in terms of the concept, anyone can jump on as a Mask user, and there's an option in the app to turn on serving, and that means that you're routing, so exiting, providing exit services for other users. We have a speed test thing, which we're trying to tweak that a little bit, but essentially we want to make sure that if someone wants to serve, that they're not on like a really old school copper line connection because anyone going through them will have very slow speed. So
Just a
we have a
copper line.
minimum. Yeah, dude, copper. There's still a lot of copper out there, man. People don't realize fiber isn't a thing in every place. So
Yeah, that's true.
um,
That's very
I'm
true.
jealous. We'll get some testers come in. They're like, "Hey, I'm on 800 download." I'm like, "Whoa, man! I'm happy I get like 50/20 where I live."
Really, dude, I'm on a gig both ways. So I'm definitely lucky.
Yeah, like you'll be sweet. You'll be able to do that. And so, yeah, as long as people can pass the minimum test, I think it's set at 20 megabit upload. So just sort of enough to do anything you really need to online. You can serve, and anytime traffic routes through your node, you can earn a bit of Masq. And of course, browser activity, people using it to browse, they pay peer to peer in Masq as well. Right now, we're on the test net, so it's a test token. We've got a few cool things we're going to announce later this year where testers can, you know, transition into mainnet where when we launch that. But our first goal is to launch a more public beta testnet, which will still be on the testnet token and the testnet itself. But we're going to open it more to the public. Right now, it's sort of like invite only or closed promotional whitelist spots, so we can
Mhm.
control the test group size and make sure we don't, we can help get the feedback we need. But hey, I think we have a little promo today, maybe to have a few
Yeah.
of your members join.
Yeah, we got some of our Cardinal crew members that are going to be getting some whitelist spots, and we also have. You guys
Sweet.
didn't know we have a little competition at the end of this AMA, going back to another Kahoot with some questions. Whoever wins that is going to be getting 150 bucks, and then second and third place will also be getting a smaller prize, kind of ticking down, but 300 total dollars at the end. So stay tuned. But
Nice.
yeah, yeah. So thank you guys. Thank Masq for that. They're definitely awesome, doing some great stuff. But next up, um, how is a user protected? You know, since like what you're chatting about, as a person that's trying to earn, how are they being protected by somebody using them as an exit?
Yeah, that's really important. Actually, that question came up early on, even just in our sort of development brainstorming and horizon planning, because anyone could use the mass network for lots of different things. So what we've built into the app is really we're trying to put the user first in a lot of the concepts we put in there. Um, it sort of goes along with a lot of things in life, right? Like if you give someone a choice, you hope that the majority of people do the right thing.
Mhm.
But you can't guarantee that everyone's going to do the right thing, right? There's bad actors and there's people that are maybe not as good natured as others. So in the app, we have a way where if you turn on serving, you can choose the DNS services that are family friendly or safer. So instead of just using Google, where anything could be searched, including adult stuff or things you don't necessarily want through your connection, you
Yeah.
can choose something like Cloudflare Family, which they have a filter which protects most of the reported malware sites, bad sites that serve non-family friendly stuff. So straight away the user has a screen where they're educated, where it says, look, choose the filter you want. We recommend the family, but you can choose others. And then, of course, there's an option for them to choose a custom one, such as Google, which is not 8.8.8.8 or
Mhm.
different DNS. So lets people sort of have that in mind and say, hey, I want to make sure my serving and exits services are only for like family friendly stuff, so I don't need to worry about it. They can choose that, and we make it easy.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, that's awesome. Is there any risk as somebody's getting essentially like this is getting access to the network, and similar to what you chatted about, with hardware, it's tough to know if somebody's looking and using that hardware for anything malicious, right? With the DPN. But is there anything that you guys are doing to make sure or ensure that people are not opening up their networks for any kind of hack, whether it be by a third party or even by, Masq or something like that, someone getting access to the Masq contract or something along those lines?
Yeah, it's very important. I mean, these questions are all like really important. I mean, number one, our core software that does all the heavy lifting of all the features and stuff that we talked about, that's all open source. So one part of that is transparency. So anyone who's using apps and things out there, you do want to take a look, just for your own peace of mind for anything. It's just have a look. Are they open source or not? Do they have an active community of developers? Do they have documentation listed places, things like that? So yeah, we've open sourced our core. It's been like that for a while. And that provides transparency for people. In terms of like risk, there's risk in using. There is some inherent risk in using any type of peer to peer services, but what we've tried to design in every part and aspect of our security within Masq is assuming that you can't trust another user. Because really you can't, right? If you have an
Mm-hmm.
anonymously designed network where it's permissionless but also trustless, and that's the way most of crypto is designed, right? You don't need to trust the other party. It's secured by code or encryption. So we've applied that concept to the way we built things where you sort of assume that other nodes could be a bad actor. So the way you connect to them is often quite secure. You only your nearest neighbors in the network, so up to 4, actually know more information about you than the rest. The rest of the network only sees you as a public key. So no node in the network will know everybody else. So that's sort of protection by obfuscating the network as a whole. Whereas with Tor, if you think of Tor, the reason Tor can be manipulated a lot easier is that all of their exit nodes' IP addresses are on a public list. So anyone, including Big Brother and others, can hop on this. There's a directory service website, and every single exit node that's being run for Tor is listed on there. So governments like Russia and stuff, for example, have done things like that, blocked all those IPs. So now no one in their country can use Tor easily because everything is blocked directly. So you can't do that in Masq because no one knows all the nodes. There's no central service for that as well. And then, of course, everything is encrypted with standard encryption. So even if someone tried to intercept any data, you cannot see what's inside.
Mm-hmm.
It's encrypted all the way from the server to the user, as opposed with Tor and VPN. Often it's only encrypted to the exit, and then the exit node themselves as a machine is taking the content from the server and then encrypting it and sending it back. There's no middleman sort of style like that in Masq. It's all the way from your encryption handshake to the server from the user. So on technical levels, it's very much designed to where you can't just rely on trust. As the saying goes in crypto, don't trust, verify, right? Mm-hmm. So you sort of assume that other users may not be good actors. You have to design everything with that. So on a technical level, that's a lot of the aspects that we've built in to mitigate that risk for everybody.
Gotcha. Yeah, I love to hear it. If you are good for it, we'll keep asking some questions as we get into it, but let's get ready for this Kahoot so we don't go too far over. I know there's a ton of questions, but we got $300 on the line. Let me get this all up real quick. So give me one moment. I'm going to pull it up right here. Awesome. Let's get this tab up. Thank you. Yeah, they are definitely very educated on the topics. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop this in AMA questions. Make sure you guys click this link, get in here. It's ahaslides.com/JLWZ4. So go ahead, type that in. You can copy and paste that link that I sent. And it'll take you straight to the page you need. The other option is checking out the YouTube channel. On our YouTube, we actually have the stream going. So what's going on? Bright Zone is in here. Thank you, Z. Let's get everybody in here. We'll give it a couple minutes. As we kind of go through and let people join in, though, we'll go on to another question. What is... Oh, someone, Z asked, have you already set this up for a crypto grandma? Really? That is awesome. And how do you do this if you don't have Masq tokens, right? And you were getting set up. Is there any kind of way to set it up in a way that you wouldn't have to continuously um, purchase and hold Masq? Like, is the amount of Masq actually being used and sent very low, or um, how do you kind of manage that? Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Super, super awesome. Let's get into some of these questions. If you're not in here, make sure you join. We got 15 people in here, but I know more people wanted to join. Click on that link that Z sent if you are trying to get in here. In the AMA questions chat, click in there. Oh, go for it. Yeah, just run with it, dude. Mm-hmm. We're gonna get started, guys, by the way. What platforms can Mask be run on? One person got it wrong. There were 3 correct answers. Ubisoft was the last one. Yep. Um, what chain does the Mask software use to secure the network at the moment? Yeah. Yep. One person got it wrong. You got 13. Polygon is the correct answer. Not on ETH. Every website you search costs $1 just in gas. Um, one of Masq's features is a built-in browser. Name the other useful feature Masq does have. Yeah, it is a dApp store. You want to chat a little bit about that? Mm-hmm. 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 It looks like, yeah, it looks old. It looks very dated. That's for sure. Why are RPCs not already in there? Why are networks not already thrown in there? Who knows? At least the most common. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. How is Masq providing internet freedom? Selling your data. Okay, good. Nobody put that. No, I put that as one of the options. This one was supposed to be a gimme. Anonymity. Hmm. I mean, that's what's coming in. I don't use it. No, no, no way. No shot. Even if I'm not sleeping, I'm not getting in a gig upload and download at the same time. Never. Like never. Hmm. 5 questions left. Sorry, keep going. Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Um, I think that's awesome. We got 4 questions left. What is the main utility of the Masq token? Payment for browsing, payment for serving content to others, securing a network, or the token gating features. Yep. All of them are correct. All of them are correct. You should be able to get this one right no matter what answer you clicked. So hmm hmm Yeah. That is super super important, I think. Allowing I love the focus on community here. We had this question, what does CORS stand for? I got three people with my answer. The client operated real environmentally secured. Perfect. Yeah. You try and throw people off a little bit, right? That's how I have my fun. We got our final question up here. Crazy Arc in the lead, Z in second, and VIP Killer in third. Let's see if they can hold it. Yes, there's 12 seconds that they have to answer it. 12 seconds to answer. And everybody's doing it together. So I can see the results. If you click that YouTube link, you could follow along as well. But we're just about to finish it up. Definitely helpful. Is there a high performance mode, or why is there? To save resources on low NPCs, to reward token gated communities, or to speed things up for high end users? This one threw most people off. All right. All right. Yeah, that's high performance generally means that you are focusing on performance instead of quality. So it sounds wrong at first, but think about it like a spectrum. High performance is the least quality because you're focusing strictly on performance. So yeah, it's to save resources on low end PCs. Who do we have in the lead? Oh no, we had two switches at the end. So ZZZ, Crazy Arc, and Chris Spade. Please screenshot or take a picture of your screens and send that in a ticket. Um, would that be best in your server or ours? I'm not sure who is sending the reward. Okay, awesome. Yeah, that would be great. So yeah, create a ticket in this server. Just send us your wallet address and a screenshot showing that you won. Because we've had people try and change their names last second. So if you don't have a screenshot, unfortunately we can't. Yeah, yeah, and it was just that last question. 88 points took him up over Crazy Arc. So that was a close one. But nice job. First place is getting 150, second is getting 100, and third is getting $50. So congrats, guys. Thank you for all tuning in. That was awesome. Let me switch this restream real quick.
Pick 5 of the
Yes.
beta testing spots. We'd love to get some of you
Here's
guys
what we'll
trying out.
do. I'm going to say try not to message too much in AMA questions for just a moment. If you're interested in getting a beta spot, react to this message.
Nice. Also, before we get carried away with other questions,
yes.
the pre-search vote
Yes.
is happening at the moment. So everyone, you might want to talk about that, Chris.
Yeah. So if you guys didn't know, Presearch is running a huge competition. We are both in it in separate sections though, so we're not competing with Masq. Go vote for both of our groups. You can vote for each of ours. What group are you in, Kari?
We appear in Web3 and infrastructure categories, so please vote for us in both if you can.
Yes,
Yeah.
go vote for Masq in both Web3 and infrastructure, and then also head over and vote for us in the other category. We are doing right now, and only right now, if you vote for us, we are doing a free month membership for a Cardinal crew. So you'll be getting alpha, you'll be getting access to Node Runner, which is something really, really awesome we have coming. Our NFTs come out in a couple days, so you'll be whitelisted for that and able to actually interact with it. And it's only a benefit. It's we're fractionalizing. I forgot the word. We are fractionalizing a validator node for DAG, so for Constellation Network. So if you're interested in that, definitely go get your free membership, and if there's spots left over, you can purchase an NFT. But your vote is for Pi. Yeah, I think we'll see who ends up winning this. I vote for Pi too, but like I said, if you guys are interested in winning, make sure you react to that message. I'll collect all the names. Remember, if you are part of Cardinal Crew, you get 3 times likelihood of winning giveaways as well. So go ahead, do that. Join Cardinal Crew for the next one if you guys aren't. And we will talk to you soon. Kari, do you have anything to add before we to out of the pre-search bit or anything else?
No, I think it was a great discussion. Hopefully everyone learned quite a bit about us. It's a lot of high level. Some of the concepts are pretty high level, but what we've done is we've boiled it down and basically just want to give users a way to steer away from normal solutions like VPN and Tor and have an alternative, but something that's fun to use. So those 5 lucky beta testers, when you jump in and load it up the first time, hopefully you'll get a nice feeling that and there's a lot of work that's gone into that, but you'll be like, wow, this is cool, because that's the typical feedback we've been seeing. So we feel really good is that people are jumping in and using it and saying this is like the coolest thing I've ever used in a long time. And it's actually it's a cool concept at the same time. So
yeah, that's very very true. The high level
we'll get you guys into it. We'll get you guys into it as well. Chris and Jojo, I forgot to send you the link. We'll get you guys browsing too and trying it out, and you can tell them how it is.
Awesome. Sounds great, dude. Sounds great. We will let you go. Have a wonderful day. And if you guys are in here, thank you for tuning in. Remember to send in your wallet address with the ticket and a screenshot of it if you won the Kahoot. And then I will be picking some of these names very, very soon here. I'm going to put into random number generator and get these things going. And I'll tag everybody in the AMA questions in the next 5 minutes or so. So stay tuned if you guys are interested in that beta spot. And thank you, Kari. Thanks for popping in here and hanging out.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. I really like what you guys are